The year 2020 brought a host of struggles that many of us thought we would never ever have to deal with in our entire lives. Musicians especially were hit hard because we lost a lot of our motivation. We lost a lot of the purpose behind our work. For many of us, we enjoyed playing for an audience, or for many of us, we just enjoyed playing with our friends in an ensemble, or maybe we really looked forward to those lessons with our teachers, and all of that was just taken away from us in what seemed like an instant. The loss of these external motivators resulted in a lack of purpose in our work. What would be the point of practicing if I don't have a concert or a lesson or any of those kinds of things to get ready for? The reason I wanted to make this video is personally I didn't experience much of a loss of motivation in my practice. I had my own goals, I knew what kind of person I needed to be able to accomplish those goals, so I felt that my work had a lot of purpose actually throughout this pandemic. I hope this video can serve as an encouragement for anybody who did struggle with motivation to be able to take some of my perspective and apply it to your own practice, and hopefully be able to reclaim some internal motivation, some intrinsic motivation for your practice so that nobody can take away purpose for your practice again. Let's get into the video. So there's two things I want to cover in this video. The first is going to be how the gold method helped my work maintain purpose when there was no sort of external thing to work for, and then also how the principles that I've developed and that I've incorporated into my practicing were able to keep my work grounded and moving forward as well. Starting with the gold method, usually in my job, I'm preparing for work. I'm preparing for whatever the next week is gonna be, or whatever other things that I might have to be ready for in terms of solos or, master classes, whatever. But having all that taken away, I was left with a completely blank slate of working on whatever I wanted to work on. In the past, that much freedom would have been absolutely paralyzing, and I would have been right there with many other people in the lack of motivation department. And so I wanted to share how I used the gold method throughout this time to improve upon some weaknesses that I had, and that allowed me to really look back over this time and be thankful that I used it the way that I did. There were three main weaknesses in my playing that I wanted to work on throughout this pandemic. The first one was my consistency of articulation. I felt that in general my articulation was okay, but I couldn't really reliably count on my first attacks to be good or perfect or coordinated. I felt like sometimes as I went along, things kind of got rocky. Another weakness was I wanted to work on speed of tongue, both in single tongue and multiple tonguing. And then the third thing I really wanted to work on was sort of my musicianship. How do I develop more intimacy in my music making without losing the health that I had tried to develop in my trumpet playing overall? For the consistency of articulation, I literally just went back and played the most basic arbin exercises you could find, and I tried to develop those to the point where I was happy with the consistency of my articulation. The Håkan Charlier videos that came out were a really big help to me at this time too. I listened to his playing, I sort of tried to figure out what's going on when he does these types of things, and then tried to incorporate that into as a model into my own playing. After I had worked through the arbin articulation exercises, I moved on to things like Goldman and some Poder exercises, so it's a little bit more musically interesting, but I kept the sections relatively short. I wanted ample time to repeat these sections of music to try to improve them and get that quality high. And then lately I've been working through pages of etudes, a page of a top tones etude, a full entire page of a saxa etude, to be able to take that quality that I felt that I had developed and the consistency of my articulation, and now start to challenge it in terms of duration of playing as well. To address my weakness of my single tongue and multiple tongue speed, I chose Chris Gecker's 1 minute drill for my single tongue, and then there was one double tonguing exercise and one triple tonguing exercise that I chose to work on for speed. And I literally played these same exercises in my routine month after month after month for 7 or 8 months total. The way that I structure my routines, I basically have a goal at the end of this 4-week period. And so what I did was I just went through the process month after month after month, bumping up the goal tempo literally 2 beats per minute. So the progress I'm making from month to month is just 2 beats per minute. But I viewed it as over the course of 7 or 8 months, we're looking at a pretty nice increase in single tonguing speed, and I was okay with waiting that long to get there. For my musicianship, I just started with things like concone Tone. Went back to the basics with Roshu and stuff, and I really tried to figure out how do I make this more sweet, more intimate, but I don't want to lose the forwardness of my playing. I don't want to lose that health, sort of that big, broad, orchestral nature. How do I balance these two? And so I started with that, and over the course of time, through this Biche recording etude thing I'm doing on YouTube, I started to incorporate that more into how do I maintain some of that lightness, some of the agility, but on these Biche etudes, which are obviously just crazy. To be able to see noticeable skill development for me, not just in my actual ability to do it, but to do it with consistency and it just being a part of my playing, it took over a year to be able to do it. But my application of the gold method is such that I'm really just practicing from 1 month to another month to another month. I'm not trying to get too far ahead of myself. And after a few months, you can start to see how these 1 month blocks are really starting to build towards your 1 year version of yourself, or however you want to talk about it. So I'm not really so worried about how long it'll take me to get there. I just see how if I commit for this month, I'm gonna be able to get there eventually. As I said toward the beginning of this video, the other component of me not really losing a lot of motivation was just that I have a relationship with my work that serves to build me as a human being, and I totally view that as one of the most valuable reasons that I practice. I first started understanding these ideas when I was working out, and I had bought a workout program from a guy named Brian Alsru. I've spoken about this many times before. The program was incredibly hard. I wanted to quit, I wanted to give up, but I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna power through. I'm gonna be disciplined, I'm gonna do my best, and I'm not gonna quit. And I finished the program, and I proved to myself that I could be disciplined. What I realized from that workout program is motivation is incredibly fleeting. Rarely did I feel like going and working out, but I had made this commitment to do the action of working out, whether I felt like it or not, and seeing the progress I was making became motivating. I think the best thing I can say in this video right now is that if you're struggling with some of these things about being disciplined and you're not motivated, or maybe you struggle with patience, or maybe you're not focused when you practice, is don't wait. Don't assume someday after a period of time you're going to become motivated or you're going to become focused, whatever. Decide now that you are that, and then ask yourself, how do you act in that light? For example, if you struggle with focus in your practice sessions and you want to be able to develop that focus, instead of saying, I hope to develop that focus someday, you're going to say, I am focused in the practice room. And then you're gonna say, how does that affect my work? You may find it difficult to be focused because you're not trained to be focused, but it doesn't mean that you can't. It means that you need to start asking, how do I set myself up to do this? And over the course of time of holding yourself accountable to being focused is how you actually develop focus as just part of how you do the work. To close this video out, I thought I would just share some of my thoughts about motivation, what's motivating for me, and hopefully this perspective can help you if you're struggling. For me, being able to see that I can make a plan in my practice or be able to sort of reassess how I view myself and see actual growth in those areas that I'm hoping to grow in is incredibly motivating. I don't think I've found anything else more motivating than seeing actual growth in my life. So that's kind of where I come with the perspective. Don't wait for motivation to happen to you. Develop some systems, see that growth, and then experience the motivation that comes from that. All right, everybody, that's gonna be all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it or had any feelings at all, please give it a like down below and don't forget to subscribe so you can see all the other kinds of content that I produce on this channel. If you have any questions about this, or you just want to chat about the gold method application, these principles idea, or maybe just motivation in general, I'm gonna leave a link down below for a free 30-minute call that you can sign up for, where we can chat and hopefully I can help you answer any questions that you have. We can also work together where I can share some of my methodology with you to be able to level up your practice if that's what you're seeking as well. Thank you so much for watching the video. Always remember, stay strong, be kind to yourself, never stop growing, and we'll see you in the next video.